What up, and welcome back to First Strike. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Hopefully you enjoyed the break and got yourselves nice and recharged. You got relaxed, refreshed. It's time to go out there and attack these books in 2025 and UFC Fight Night. Dern versus Ribas is the spot for us to do it. I'm joined with the Apex Predators of the Octagon. As you guys know them, we've got MMA Jeff, Fanatical Jim, and Subhuman Gaucho here. If you guys are new to the programming, we're going to give you 4 of our early best bets, the spots that we like here. We feel that will give you the maximum return on your investment, trying to capitalize on early line opportunities, early line movement. We want to get you guys the best pricing we can as early as we can. And we're covering a good portion of the card in advance. You'll catch all our prelim and main card breakdowns on the live show Saturdays. You can see in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to pop off at 3:30 p.m., and we'll talk more about that. Before we get into it, though, let's talk about these boys and their breaks. Jeff, you rested and recharged and ready to attack?
Yeah, I'm jacked up. We got a 14-fight card here. It's been, 3 weeks since we've had some UFC fights and pretty much just about any combat sports at this point. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it and a cashing and profitable year.
Let's go. I know this guy had a cashing and profitable year over there at Fanatical Jim. Big vacation and family time to get the recharge going. How you feeling, Jim?
Oh, you're exactly right, Mike. Recharge the batteries, took a few weeks, spent time with family. It's good to kind of reset coming into the new year, especially with UFC, with mixed martial arts. You want to see things clearly, and I feel like I'm at that spot. This is a huge card this week, to Jeff's point, 14 fights. We got some other MMA action going on with LFA and one championship, so it's a really, really big fight weekend, and really excited to break it down with all of you moving forward.
Exciting stuff. I know this guy's had a profitable holiday season here. The head man at the Subhuman Gaucho himself. Sub, how you feeling?
Man, I really couldn't be better. It's a nice Wednesday night. Despite as good as the Sub Club has been, we are coming off a pretty poor day, but that'll happen. And so far, I mean, you want to talk about a run. 2025 has been quite an effing run for the Sub Club. All that said, this fight card, it really could not come soon enough. There's all those proverbs and parables about idle hands. I don't know, Benjamin Franklin and Thoreau and all them. I don't know. You can look them up. They're out there. But I've had too much time on my hands. I'm betting NCAA basketball and football and NFL, and I could not get this UFC card soon enough, man, because I need to quit that. I really do. I need to focus on the goods, and it's here Saturday, so looking forward to it, man.
We are all fired up. I hope you guys watching are fired up as well. Here's the reminder. Please hit the thumbs up on the video for us. Support the channel. Support the content that we put out there. And we don't ask for much, but it takes you just a second. It helps us a tremendous amount. And with that being said, let's get into the count. Let's get into the card and figure out exactly how we're going to make a tremendous amount of cash here this weekend. And none other than MMA Jeff to pop us off and talk to us about this big battle. I'm looking forward to hearing about his breakdown, the early spots here on the card. But nonetheless, it should be a lot of fun. Ernesta, Nicole, Jeff, the floor is yours. How are we getting paid?
All right, so we got Nicole Cagliari here. She's coming in as a much smaller fighter at 5'3". She typically looks jacked up. I think she's up too much in the weight class, but what else could she do here? She's just jacked up like a maniac. She's coming in off a win off an armbar in round 1 of the Dana White Contender Series, making her UFC debut. Now, there is some rumors or that there was some issues with La Framboise there in the Dana White Contender Series. She took a 2-year layoff. I don't know. She might have had a baby. I don't know if she had a surgery. I'm not sure. I didn't look too far into it, but she definitely wasn't into that one. She had a little ring rust. So I don't know if Cagliari got the better of her just based on that, but Cagliari is 8-2 as a pro, in on a 4-fight win streak. She's got decent takedowns, and she certainly has some heavy hands. She is ranked regionally in Brazil at number 16. She's, again, as I mentioned, she's making her UFC debut. So it's going to be an interesting fight to see how she actually comes up in the game plans for this one. We got a striker versus a grappler, her being on the grappling side of things. And, I don't know if she's fought a girl quite like Karikate yet, but this should be this fight started out as a close one, pretty close to even money. And a lot of steam came in on Karakate here later the last couple of days, last couple of hours for that matter. You got Karakate is a slightly younger fighter, 6 inches taller with a significant 9-inch reach advantage. She is only 5-1-1 as a pro. She's 0-1 in the UFC. She's coming back after her first UFC loss there by UNAM to Barbosa. She didn't look that great, but getting the UFC experience, I think she's fought in some of the better fighters over Cagliari there. So, I think she likes to use her jab at range. She's going to throw volume. She's got great cardio. She's going to throw a lot of probably combination and kicks, which is going to ultimately she's going to probably have the advantage if they stay on the feet, where Cagliari needs to get this thing to the mat to have any shot at winning, in my opinion. Certainly, I don't see either fighter knocking each other out, or there could be a potential submission attempt out there from Cagliari if they get to the mat. But again, I don't see this fight ending inside the distance. I see Cagliari coming out, eating a bunch of jabs, and not liking those jabs and shooting for a takedown. If she does get a takedown, she's probably going to stay on top and throw a whole bunch of submissions. And I think Karakate there, she's not a great grappler, but I think she's going to do enough to withstand it if she does get to the ground. If Cagliari doesn't get her to the ground, I think she's going to get jabbed all over the place. I think she's just going to keep her at range. She's going to eat the jabs, several combinations, high volume, followed up by some kicks. I'll tell you, but give me the longer, slightly more experienced fighter. I'm going to roll with Karakate by decision at -125. Again, I think she's just the more experienced fighter, so I'm going to roll with her. I went back and forth on the dog a couple days ago, but I think Karakate is the place to be on this one. So Karakate by decision at -125. And Sub's bringing us to a featherweight battle on the main card. I'm excited to hear his breakdown on this one. He's got Austin Bashi versus Christian Rodriguez. Sub, how are we getting paid?
All right, so we got this featherweight contest here, and I could say an awful lot about this one. I really could for various reasons. We'll start with for what my in my mind is the B side, and I think that kind of gives it away where I'm heading with this one. Christian Rodriguez, this guy, great as an underdog, and he's going to close as an underdog in this one. He's had some wins that, I don't think the UFC really appreciated it. He, for one thing, he beat Raul Rosas. I don't think the UFC liked that at all. That was their boy. That was supposed to be a smash spot for him. C-Rod's good. He's pretty well-rounded, decent striking, decent grappling. His biggest wins, they all come as a sort of anti-grappler, and he tends to have those big wins when people are front-loaded, trying to finish him desperately, early, etc. I'll just be honest. I do think he's outmatched here. I want to start with a bit of a personal anecdote. I was at a Christmas party. It's about 2 weeks ago. Well, it wasn't a Christmas party. It was actually a child's birthday party. It was a day or two after Christmas. And, I had occasion to run into an old friend. We spent a lot of time at an MMA gym in West Detroit. And we're old men. We're out of shape and fat. But when we were slightly younger, this Austin kid used to hang around there all the time. He was just I don't even think he was an adult yet. I think he was still in high school. He was maybe like 115 pounds, soaking wet. Was always there, training with the Muay Thai guys. Really good Muay Thai program at that gym. And it's kind of wild to see this dude transform into a very thick featherweight. And, that's kind of where I want to start off. Christian Rodriguez, he has had a decent run in the UFC, but he does an awful lot better at bantamweight rather than featherweight. This one's going to be at featherweight. and he's facing this rather thick featherweight. He's not a 115-pound soaking wet little kid anymore. He's a rather thick 145-pound young man in Austin Bashi, and I think Bashi has him covered everywhere. I really do. I think on the feet, great kicks, solid Muay Thai practitioner. I think he wins all the minutes on the feet. I don't think that C-Rod really has any hope of taking him down. But Bashi, great wrestler. And then in the meantime, I think that C-Rod is hard to finish. So it leads me to a very obvious conclusion. Give me Austin Bashi, round 3 or decision. It's as simple as that. I think he wins all the minutes here. I think there's an outside chance, C-Rod gives his back up, maybe gets choked out. I don't think that Bashi's going to get real aggressive here. I think he cruises to a UNAM. I think it's 30-27. Maybe we see it 29-28. But I think he covers the money line. I have a unit on that. And I have a unit on, as I said, Bashi, round 3 decision. Just give me all the smoke for the young Michigander. All right, so we are kicking off the next bout, and this is one that I have some interest in. No bet yet for me, but I am excited to see this breakdown. We've got Santiago Ponzinibbio, veteran of the UFC, facing off against the South African in Harris. Where are you going with this one, Mike?
Thanks, Sub. Big battle coming up here. I'm going to go right to the main card, and it's co-main event season for your boy here. We had a lot of success last year and getting some of these opportunities and following some of these trends, and I expect it to continue as we roll into 2025. I looked at this battle and I talked the other day about the Santiago Ponzinibbio, and that was a guy that I originally thought about jumping in on. As I've seen this line kind of move here, he opened as a dog, and the public has hurried him into that favorite position. And I don't know if that's the right move. Ultimately, we see Carlston Harris on the other side of things. Both these fighters are coming off a loss, and they're both in the twilight of their career, 38 plus years old out of Santiago Ponzinibbio. And Carlston Harris there is at 37 years. What I did, you can look at the X's and O's on these guys. Yeah, we talked about them coming off of fights. They're certainly getting older and their twilight of their career. As we see this sunset approaching for Ponzinibbio, he's been certainly a guy that's been producing a lot more decision results out there. And then when we look at Carlston Harris, here's a guy that we'll talk about in a second is not afraid to go out there and put it on the table. And those are the kind of fighters you want when it comes to trying to pick a spot, especially now that we've got him in a dog role. Santiago Ponzinibbio, if you didn't know, is the Spanish commentator for the UFC. He's the translator, if you will, when they have that Spanish commentary in UFC nights. He's got himself a second career in the announcing role. Now, he attributes that to becoming a more balanced fighter. He's a little bit more rounded. He's a powerful guy. He can grapple, but he likes to go out there and stand and bang. He's kind of a nut job, too. He broke his hand in the first round of a fight there. He continues to roll on. That broken hand turns into a broken arm. It says he broke it in 10 places, and now he's got plates and screws all over the hand out there. He's got the orthodox stance and certainly the opportunity, I think, to go out there and make some things happen. On the flip side, we look at a situation with Carlston Harris, and when I evaluate these spots, I try to see what the motivation looks like. And for me, the motivation here is Ponzinibbio's got his second career in mind. Carlston Harris approached this fight. They talked to him and they said, "What's going on with you?" And he said, I still want to be a champ. This is my run. This is my time. He hasn't fought since beginning of last year or early part of last year. And they said, "Was it a health thing?" And he said, "No." He said, he got his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt just in December. So this guy's continuing to pile on accolades and accomplishments as he develops, and he's looking to make this his run at a championship bout. I think this is a great opportunity for us to take advantage of that spirit, that motivation, whereas we see Santiago Ponzinibbio 1-4 in his last 5. Now, yeah, he's lost to some great guys, Jeff Neal, Michael Pereira, certainly some Kevin Holland knocked his ass out fast, and Salikov, but Carlston Harris doesn't play with his food. He goes out there, he battles. I almost envision a spot where Santiago Ponzinibbio comes in there and feels like he has to be over aggressive at first to try to make something happen. He's going to put himself out there And I think that's going to open him up for exposure. I love Carlston Harrison to finish this thing. If you look at the round totals, it's certainly juiced to the under 2.5 rounds in that spot. Or I'm sorry, under in the round total. But I do like Carlston Harris to finish inside the distance. You can find that at a nice beefy plus 225. For me, I'm going to give this official today. I love this plus 118 money line for a little Harris opportunity. And I think that's a good opportunity for us to get paid early. Let's not get too cute with it. We can certainly reevaluate all the props we want to play on fight night. But I think what's going to happen here is the public's had a lot of time to sit on this card. They like Ponzinibbio. They like his story. They're familiar with this guy. And they turn him into a favorite. But I think as we get closer to fight night here, we're going to see that the public realized Harris is the guy. This is going to drop back down. Catch this line while you can. And catch Fanatical Jim breaking down the next fight here. He's going to talk a little bit about this Micek Siriano opportunity. And I'm looking forward to hearing that battle. Fanatical Jim, how you getting paid?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. This is an interesting fight. You have Puna Soriano taking on Uros Medic. And I'm going to start with Puna Soriano. That's going to be the majority of my breakdown. When you look at Soriano, he was pretty good coming off the Contender Series back in 2019. He had a couple of knockout wins, round one wins. I think his biggest win, I would say, on his resume was Dusko Chudrovic. I think he got knocked him down a couple of times. He got the win there. So that was probably his best win. After that, he lost 4 out of 5. And it wasn't really close. I mean, maybe the Nick Maximov fight was a little bit close, but the other fights, he got knocked out by Roman Kopylov, who's on this card. He got knocked out by Dustin Stolfus. And he made a decision that, I don't want to fight at 185 anymore. Let me move down to 170. So his last fight was against Miguel Baeza, which he looked pretty dominant. And I think a lot of the chatter around him has been, well, he's moved down to 170. He's fixed his cardio issues because he's always had cardio issues. And he's fixed his chin for some reason, like that. He doesn't have an issue with getting knocked down anymore. He's all of a sudden a new man. Well, Miguel Baeza, he didn't have a camp at all for that fight. He was training out of his garage. And quite frankly, I think it was a fight he accepted just to get a paycheck and retire. He didn't want to be there. I think anyone on this panel may have had a good chance to have a competitive, at least 1-round fight against Miguel Baeza in that matchup. So I'm not going to give Puna Soriano too much credit for that fight. He's still fighting at 170. And here's my methodology around fighters moving weight, especially when they haven't been successful at that weight class for a long time. They're doing it because they're trying to salvage their career. It's not because they think they've done it all in that weight class and they want to move to a different challenge, right? No, they're trying to stay relevant. And when you go from 185 to 170, like Puna Soriano's done, you lose the power advantage you had. So trying to assign that same idea that Soriano has that one punch power, he may, but it's different because he's losing a lot of that strength by cutting the weight that he's cutting from that 15 pound. 15 pounds makes a lot of difference. The other thing that you're doing is you're sacrificing the power, but you're also going to a weight class that's a little bit more faster, right? And that's where we kind of go to Uros Medic. Uros Medic is a fast striker. He is very versatile. He could throw punches. He can throw kicks. He's high volume. He has high striking accuracy. He hits about 60% of his strikes, and he's throwing about 6 strikes per minute. So do the math on that. I mean, he's going to, just volume alone, he's going to outpace Soriano in this fight, right? So you have that. Medic's defense, striking defense, is well above average. It's also around 57 to 60% in terms of strikes that he's not accepting, whereas Soriano is below average. Soriano takes around 46 to 47% that he's stopping, right? So right away on the feet, Medic has a clear advantage. Grappling, wrestling, being taken down. He got taken down 7 times by Oral By. It was not a great look. But beyond that, he still has an above 50% takedown defense. I'm not willing to accept the fact that Uros Medic is some bum on the ground. He was okay scrambling in that fight. He eventually got caught with a neck crank by Oral By. But still, I'm not willing to accept that Medic is some, once you get him down, that's it. And I'm also not willing to accept that Puna Soriano has all of a sudden found some sort of wrestling ability. And I understand he's a wrestler, but he hasn't shown it until his previous fight against Baeza. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he's all of a sudden going to now chain wrestle in all of his fights moving forward. I mean, I need to see it to believe it, and I need to see it again to believe it. and he trains with Maki Pitolo, who is a notorious striker. So like all of a sudden he's just going to now wrestle and do it well. I'm not buying it. My pick here is Uros Medic, and what I've done is I have Uros Medic to win and for the fight to start round 2. I'm going to kind of go back to what I've discussed here in terms of Soriano. I don't buy that his cardio issue is fixed by cutting 15 pounds. I think he still has a cardio issue. In terms of the fight going to round 2, I think Uros Medic's going to do his best to go lateral in the first round, hit from distance, get his strikes in, make sure that he's not giving up his chin to a clear strike from Soriano, making sure that he's trying to avoid if there's a takedown attempt from Soriano. But I also think he wants to download as much data as possible in this fight because we don't know what Soriano's going to come out with, right? We saw him come out with a big arsenal against Baeza, but Baeza was accepting a lot of it. Uros Medic's not going to accept a lot of it. I will say if Puno Soriano wins this fight, that it's probably his biggest win of his career. I think even bigger than Dustin Stolfus, because I think Uros Medic is being viewed here as maybe not a champion ceiling, but I think he could be a stalwart in the middle of this division. And I think Soriano, if he does get this, would be a big win. I just don't see it happening. And if you look at the odds itself, like I said, it's a plus 110 I'm getting for this. To fight to start round 2 is a minus 270 right now in FanDuel, and Medic is sitting around a minus 210. So you can put those two together, and a plus 110 is a pretty good line for this. So that's how I'm going to approach this. I think Uros Medic has a clear advantage here if this stays on the feet. And I do think he's able to scramble. I don't think Soriano's going to be able to hold him down and control him. And if that's the case, Medic's just going to throw more volume and look better. So that's how I'm going to approach this fight: is Uros Medic to win and fight to start round 2, and that's a plus 110. That's on FanDuel. So with that being said, Mike, we'll wrap this thing up and let's go over the recap.
Terrific work, gentlemen. You guys can see on the right-hand side of the screen the plays out there. Get them in early. You heard from the Apex Predators of the Octagon, and you're going to hear from us again Saturday. We pop off at 3:30 p.m. Sports Money. We're going to have the Sports Betting Bros rocking again. We're back. We're ready to attack. Please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you turn your notifications on. You don't want to miss this content as soon as it drops. We're trying to give you guys the best bets, the best lines, the best moves to cash and build these bankrolls. And we'll see you guys real soon. Thanks for watching.